A landslide at a rubbish dump near the Sri Lankan capital Colombo has killed at least 16 people and injured over a dozen, according to health and military officials. For the second day, emergency workers have been digging into the mountain of refuse in the search for survivors. Over 100 homes were buried. Soldiers have been called in using heavy equipment. The huge dump collapsed after becoming engulfed by flames on Friday, the island nation's traditional New Year's Day. The site's been used as Colombo's rubbish tip as the capital undergoes a facelift. This witness said there was a big noise. We heard people shouting, "My house is buried. 3 of my neighbours are too." Houses behind us were flying towards us. It was like a tsunami. Residents in the area, mostly living in ramshackle accommodation, have been demanding the dump's removal, saying it was causing health problems. Sri Lanka's government said it had planned to get rid of it soon under an infrastructure plan, a promise renewed on Saturday by the Prime Minister.
Unsafe. Louisa Pilbeam reports. For survivors after a huge... Rescuers in Sri Lanka are tonight searching for survivors after a huge rubbish dump collapsed onto a number of homes, killing at least 19 people. Residents of Colombo had asked for the pile of rotting waste to be cleared, concerned that recent floods and a fire had made it unsafe. Louisa Pilbeam reports.
They were buried alive in the middle of the night, families and children in their homes. Those who managed to escape say there were once more than 100 houses here before a rubbish dump smothered this Sri Lankan town.
We heard a massive sound. It was like thunder. Tiles in our house cracked. Black-coloured water started coming in. My daughter shouted, saying, "Something's happening outside." Then the windows and parts of our house started to collapse. We tried to get out, but were trapped inside. We continued to shout for help, and later we were rescued.
The army is still searching for survivors in the Sri Lankan capital, digging for life in the dirt, fearing scores of people are trapped under thousands of tons of waste.
There was a big noise. We heard people shouting. Houses behind us were coming towards us. They were flying at us. It was like a tsunami. Houses were cracked. My house is buried. So are 3 of my neighbours. Over 100 people may have been buried.
There are claims people living here had asked the government to remove the rubbish dump and had feared for their safety. Some say 800 tons of waste were added to the dump every day, and the government had planned to remove it. It's too late for those who have died and for many more who may still be buried here. Louisa Pilbeam.
His family got out seconds before the wall of dirt destroyed his house.
The ground started cracking up. We saw the house in front lift up and we all ran out. When we turned back, our house was buried.
Many weren't so lucky. The funerals of a number of victims took place in the shadow of the rubbish mountain. Most of those living in Meethotamulla, just outside the capital Colombo, were celebrating the local New Year on Friday. That's when a section of the giant rubbish pile sank, pushing out a wall of decomposing waste onto nearby houses. At least 150 houses were completely buried. The initial lack of information regarding who was in the area has been a challenge.
We were caught off guard during a holiday season, but we are now overcome all the challenges. We managed to bring the resources in, and we've got a technical plan that's rolling along, and I think the rescue is going to plan.
Access to the area has been restricted with a heavy police presence to prevent looting.
Survivors of this tragedy are understandably upset and angry. They say the government promised to stop dumping garbage here in 2013. Now, the government says it will stop dumping garbage, but for victims, it comes too late.
The authorities have evacuated the area out of fear of further slides, and they insist they're working on a long-term plan for better waste management. But those whose lives have been destroyed say this won't make things right. Binay Fernandez, Aljazeera, Colombo.